When a man reacts emotionally in his home, there are usually a lot of plausible explanations. But what's evident is this: he feels disrespected. And the fear of disrespect doesn't just sting. For men, that can be humiliating. Here's the hard truth: you can't demand respect from others when you don't respect yourself. Because when you respect yourself, your words and your actions are congruent. A lot of big words for the Q-Dog today, huh? When they're not, leadership breaks down, fear takes over, and reactions replace direction. Strong leadership isn't just loud, and calm leadership isn't weak. Here's the truth: strong leadership is adaptable. It meets the needs of the moment. It's not about how loud you can be or how calm you appear. It's about setting or resetting the temperature whenever the crap hits the fan. That's leadership. You know, it's also equipping your people in your family, in your business, knowing how to do the same. That's what we're going to talk about today right here on Man vs. Marriage, the podcast. We will be right back. Welcome back to another episode of Man vs. Marriage. It is I, your humble servant, the Q-Dog, a.k.a. the Q-Diggity Dog, right here in the Moran family studio. I want to talk to you today about the emotional man, okay? And it's not that emotions are off limits for men. It's that men are built more logically based. And I know in this day and time, it's important for us to get in touch with our feelings, which is not a bad thing. But when you see a man who is overly emotional, you're looking at a man who has never truly grown up and become mature. I'm going to talk to you today about leadership and why it's important for you to lead in your home, and how being an overly emotional man can actually be confusing to your family. It can be confusing to you. And it can certainly send the wrong message as you seek to model leadership in your home, and that can affect your family outside of the house. Now, look, you might say, that's a lot of pressure, dude. Of course it is. But here in this podcast and in the Q-Dog's life, I look at pressure as a privilege, because not everybody gets the opportunity to lead and affect people in this way, to make an impact on their family in this way. So I'm calling you to be higher. Now, when it comes to leadership, you know, being a former football player, being a fan of the Alabama Crimson Tide, loving and admiring Nick Saban, he's definitely a type A leader, type A personality. At least he is on the football field. We all know there's something a little bit different when he gets around Miss Terry at home. We've seen that. Just look back at last year on Halloween when they were singing him happy birthday and he was reclining in his chair, and Miss Terry said, "Get up." Bah! He sat straight up. I digress. I looked at leaders as people that had that type A personality, that they were hard chargers, they were rough around the edges, and they just commanded respect. Because I thought that's what it was all about. As a matter of fact, it's what I was not and thought I needed to be. But it wasn't until I identified what true leadership is that I was able to begin to build confidence and become an actual leader. And let me tell you, for me, there's plenty of failure involved. There's plenty of failure involved not reading the room, being young in my development in my career. And I'm here to tell you, I can help you work through what leadership looks like. If you are an overly emotional man, you have more things going on than you may be aware of. Let's help you identify those things today. I got some talking points I want to bring to you. Reactive leadership creates emotional chaos. Disrespect is a fear for men, whether we want to believe that or not. There's a difference in a healthy type fear and a fear-based leadership. That healthy-based fear is a sort of authority and respect for another person. This is something I want to say that may seem odd in the moment, but I'm going to bring it to you anyway. Respect is earned once respect is learned, and I will tell you more about that. Consistency in who you are, it builds trust, especially inside of your home with your family. But that doesn't mean that you treat every situation the same. Leadership must be adaptable, especially in your home. Well, heck, even in your business. Now, here's something that I learned long ago that I've really sought to grow in, and that is simply this: be the thermostat, not the thermometer. You as a dad have the opportunity, you as a husband have an opportunity to walk in your home and to reset the temperature no matter what has been going on. You can provide that. As a matter of fact, you can teach that. You can model that and then teach that to your family so they have the ability to do it wherever they may go. Now, adaptable authority, I should say, is incredibly important because you need to know when to change, you need to know when to charge, and then you need to know when to challenge. And I'm going to break all those things apart for you. Here's something I want to do. I want to read this open again because I want it to sink in. I want you to have the ability I want you to have the moment to hear it once again after I've opened this particular program for you. I think it's important that we know this, that it's important that we're made aware of these things and that we know this. So I'm going to read this cold open again. I'm going to bring this to you one more time, and then I'm going to talk through some of this from my personal perspective, my personal place of growth, and encourage you that each thing that I'm talking about today is testimonial because I was that overly emotional man. It sends conflicting signals to the people that are around you. And then people can use that against you in your day-to-day life in order to deflect taking responsibility for what they're supposed to do in life. So I'm not treading lightly, but I just want to roll this out and properly explain it to you from where I've come from and what my level of growth has been. When a man reacts emotionally in his home, there are usually a lot of plausible explanations. I was very intentional about putting that because there can be plenty of things that could be explained. Most notably for me, it was the lies in my life that I was living from the past. And those lies had to be with, do I matter? Am I good enough? And then it also had to do with my health and why I wasn't taking responsibility for my health. But what's evident is he feels disrespected. That emotionally driven man feels a sense of disrespect. And that fear of disrespect doesn't just sting. For us, it can be humiliating. And here's the hard truth. You can't demand respect from others when you don't respect yourself. And if you're asking yourself right now, maybe you realize that you do have a lack of respect for yourself. Like you're willing to be that vulnerable with the man in the mirror. And you're like, how do I get to a place where I respect myself again? Like for me, testimonial wise, I'd gotten to over 380 pounds. So at that point, I was out coaching football and I was teaching, trying to model for these young men how to be their best, how to grow, how to be coachable. All the while, it was completely unhealthy. And I wasn't even the captain of my own ship, but I'm telling them there to follow me, to model me. And it wasn't healthy. It was one of those do as I say, just don't do as I do, which doesn't inspire true leadership. You don't want to submit and be in service to someone that's not congruent. When you respect yourself, your words and your actions align. Again, they are congruent. And when they're not, leadership breaks down. Your self-respect breaks down. Your credibility, or what I call internal credibility, breaks down. So now you will start to project things for fear of being disrespected, for fear of lacking authority. And you might overcorrect and stomp around. You might be that guy who has to tell everybody, I'm the leader. You have to do what I say. Who's going to do what that dude says? You might do it in the moment just to get that guy to shut up, but it's not somebody that you're willing to follow with any sort of authenticity. So leadership breaks down, fear takes over, and reaction replaces direction. Strong leadership isn't loud. It isn't just loud, guys. Calm leadership isn't weak. Strong leadership is adaptable. It meets the needs of the moment. And that's what's important for us to learn. It's not about how loud you can be or how calm you appear. It's about setting or resetting the temperature at all times, but also, especially when the crap hits the fan. That's what leadership is about in your home. And your family is looking to you to lead. I talked earlier in another episode about having one part of your body that is injured and that is in pain, and how when the body is in pain or there's an injury or something is not operating properly, that other parts of the body have to compensate. And when other parts of the body have to compensate for too long, that additional wear and tear leads to those parts of the body breaking down prematurely. So it's important that we understand this note about leadership. And I'm telling you, I wanted to be that type A. I wanted to be on the DISC assessment. I wanted to be the D. I never was. I wasn't meant to be that guy. Now, if the moment demands strong, hard-charging leadership, I've developed in a way where I can do that. And I developed in such a way where I could do that on the football field after I started respecting myself. Leadership isn't exclusive to the type A dictator. Now, in the proper setting, that's appropriate. You can't have, I would say on the football field or maybe on the grounds of war, You can't have decisive action. You can't have decisive leadership. You can't have someone that doesn't look and act and project confidence because they are confident. It's not going to work otherwise. But at home, you are modeling a higher level, and you're modeling that for your family because they are watching you all the time. It doesn't matter what age your kids is, they will model what you are doing. Leadership is adaptable, yet that adaptability doesn't mean it's not consistent. It is consistent leadership. It's strong, but it's also safe. It's guiding, it's mentorship. And the foundation is rooted, it's built in love. That's what leadership is. It's not driven by raw emotion because that is very reactionary. And emotion is like it has its place as long as it's healthy and it's applied in a practical manner and it's not reactionary. Then emotions can really help you connect with the people in your home, with your loved ones, with your wife and with your kids. But there's a time where you must operate as a logical leader and teach your family how to move forward. If you have adult children and they're on their own path, and they're not necessarily doing the things that you expect would be the best for them, and as a matter of fact, maybe they're moving the opposite way. There's a situation that was in mine and Jeannie's life years ago, just a few years ago, and it was difficult because we had some serious friction between ourselves and one of our daughters. And our daughter said some things that did not align with who we believe that we are, what we believe about our family values, and certainly not how we intended on raising her. And it had to do with our connection and our intentions. And she began to look at us like we were the problem. Now, look, there's an episode out there with her and I after we reconciled, and it was a really raw and challenging path. But during that time, I was able to encourage Jeannie and say, look, in this situation, we are going to take our energy and we're going to devote it to those who want our energy. And we'll have to take some time to step into our logical self. And for me, I had to lead my family in that logical place, because if I was overly emotional and I was raw and reactive, I can do some damage, not just to my family at home, but also to my daughter, who we were having some serious challenges with. And so it's like, look, I'm going to be the need, but I'm going to put my energy where it is wanted, where it is welcomed. I'm not going to take this particular situation personal. If she wants relationship, if she wants reconciliation, if she wants connection, she will come to us. She will come to me. If she calls, I will answer. I will continue to pray for her. I will continue to encourage her. I will be an ear to listen if things do not go according to plan. And they did not. And I honored that. But the logical me said, it's important for you to lead your family through, not to show them that you don't have emotions, but that those emotions need to be applied appropriately. Because if I started to get emotional about it and allow that to build in me, then I would begin to resent her. Then I would begin to resent our relationship. And that resentment can turn into bitterness. And when you see men who are overly emotional, men who have to fight to get the last word, men who have to justify why they are feeling in a certain way or such a way over and over and over again, and a man who emotionally just wants to continue to be heard, that man does not have a sense of respect for himself. He knows that he is not doing the things necessary in order to have internal credibility. So that man is shifting the blame and looking at other people in order to relieve himself of the pressure of taking responsibility for that. That overly emotional man has a pathway forward. And there are things that we look at, like we read about stoicism and being very stoic. And that can help you start to align yourself internally if you don't have any of these tools. But it is important for you to be healthy on the inside. It is important for you and I to understand why we do what we do. It's important for us to be adaptable as leaders and apply emotion where it belongs. And being emotionally overreactive can be damaging to you, but also it can be damaging to your family when you puke out and vomit this emotional explosion because you feel disrespected in your own home. And if you feel such a way, I'm asking you to take a step back and evaluate yourself to find out, where did I become a reactive leader? Where did I become the thermometer rather than walking in confidence as the thermostat? Where did everything become about justifying my actions and my frustrations and my anger because you guys are the problem and you guys are not listening to me? What solves this? I'm not here to say that leadership is about being perfect. I'm here to say that there's going to be failures along the way, and that's okay. Solidify your intention. Solidify your motivations. Where are you coming from, and why do you want to lead? Is it a sense of, I want to control the people around me? Or is it coming from a place of, I love these people and I want to set them up for success? I want to help create an environment for them to reach their full potential. I want to be someone that they love and that they respect. I want to be someone that challenges them because I want the best for them. And I want to model that by the way that I live my life. Which one of those is it? Have you taken the time to identify that? It's extremely important that we do. There are many homes, not just in our country, but potentially around the world, that are lacking in leadership in their home. How do I know that? Because I believe society and culture follow the home. They're a reflection of the home overall. So as I get into closing, I want to talk to you about this. As you hear what I'm talking about, even this episode was a bit messy, but it is very real. It is a present need for us as men to reclaim that authority that we've surrendered, no matter the reason, and begin that path to leadership in our home so that we create an environment where our wife does feel confident and believes in us. But you can't ask her to do something that you aren't doing for yourself. where our kids look at us and say, you know what? I don't always agree with Dad, but I do believe this about him. I do believe that he believes this. And then I'll tell you this. One of the reasons that I live out my family values, just one of them, is because I want my children to have a true north. I want my wife to have a true north. And that true north is this. Although I don't always agree with my dad, I know that he loves me enough that in love, he's going to speak the truth to me. That's extremely important as you're leading your family. So I want to encourage you today. Look in the mirror. Evaluate your internal dialogue when people are interacting with you, especially the ones that create an emotional response in you. Start to evaluate that and then ask yourself, do I know what kind of I want to become? And if you don't, let us help you. Know this about leadership. Leadership isn't about being perfect. It is about being consistent. Your response to leadership or through leadership in those moments, especially the ones with sort of chaos or that are emotionally charged, that's a locator for you. Where are you? How can you grow? How can you adapt? How can you get better as you grow? When you miss it, this is important, you mend it. And once you mend it, you move forward. And the truth is you're going to be better than you were before. Guys, I want to know from you, where in your life are you that overly emotional man that blame shifts, that has to get the last word in, that has to justify, that's bitter, that belittles people? And I'm not saying you can't sit your kids down and have a very direct talk about who they are and what's going on in their life and let them know that you have expectations of them. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that you need to have a resilient ego. You need to understand I'm asking you to understand if you are very emotional. Observe yourself and ask yourself, what lies am I believing? Where did I surrender my authority? Where did I surrender? Where did I settle for disappointment? Where did I settle for not having a voice? Where did I settle saying my health isn't worth fighting for? And how can I help you find that place? Guys, this episode went a little longer than expected. My prayer is that you found something valuable in that and that it helps you. Leadership in the home is one of the most important things of our day and time, and we must rise to the moment. It is a lot of pressure, but I'll remind you of this. That pressure is a privilege. So that's it, fellas. Thank you very much for listening. You know the Q Dog loves you. Why do you love me, Quincy? Well, because I used to be you. And thank God for Coach Rita. Thank God for my wife. And that we were willing to take this on 16 years ago and develop this 26-year relationship into what we believe is the best that it's ever been, in spite of the adversity that life brings us. We've all got a journey. We've all got a path to walk. How can I help you along the way? Let the Q Dog know. You want to email me? Quincy@mvsmpodcast.com. Go to quincymoran.com for more. Now look, I'm asking you, whatever part in this episode spoke to you, will you take that note and share this episode with the guys that you know in your life? Not saying, "Oh, dude, you need this, bro," because when I heard this, I thought of you because you're a loser. uh, that's not the point. The point is, this is how it resonated with me. If you find some value in it, I want to share this with you, and then you can clown your buddy however much you want to, because that's not my prerogative. I do some clowning myself. We have a good time. It's a guy thing, and we enjoy it. I know. And guys, that's it for this episode. If you would help us build that YouTube platform, it's really it's struggling, and the reason it's struggling is because of me. I did not invest the proper time and energy, and I would love to communicate. I'd love to reach out to that crowd. Thank you very much for listening on Apple and Spotify. Thank you for making us a rising star on Spotify. Help us build that YouTube platform. It seems to be another group of people that don't necessarily get reached on audio only. So I'm asking you to help us with that. And for now, that's it. Let me know how I can help you. Reach out to me when you are ready. And I look forward to talking to you. God bless you. I am Quincy Moran, and this is Man vs. Marriage, the podcast.